What's going on, everyone? MikeO back with another Mailday recap. Got a stack of slabs to share with you today. They're all coming out of the same box, so let's get ready and share it. To the left will be the modern cards, to the right are the vintage cards. Just your typical mix. Players I like, teams I like, such as the Phillies, and just cards that I thought were great values. So we'll look at the modern first, and the first card we're looking at is a 2011 Bowman Sterling Francisco Lindor Prospects Autograph. It is a PSA Mint 9 that allowed me to get it a little cheaper. The Bowman Sterling Auto is certainly much cheaper than his first Bowman Auto, but it is a sticker, which I don't love, but still I thought it was a great value pickup. Lindor having another really nice season. He did get off to a slow start based on the fact that he was injured, started the year on the DL, but just doesn't get that attention nationally, playing with the Cleveland Indians, who are having actually a pretty nice year. They could be left on the outside looking in because the AL playoff picture is kind of crowded. If they were in the National League, they would certainly be in. This is a 2017 Topps High Tech Jubilation Autograph, PSA Mint 9. So again, Mint 9 saves you some dollars. These cards are always pretty good looking. Corners, edges aren't really an issue. It's usually a surface. So I'm sure that's the issue with this. I haven't looked it over too close right now. But once it's in the slab, honestly, unless it's a major surface issue, it's really difficult to spot. Got a 2018 Topps Chrome Ronald Acuna Jr. from Chrome Update. Gem Mint 10. This card is still pretty affordable. His stuff has skyrocketed lately, but the Chrome Update one hasn't taken off. It's kind of not the greatest of photos, in my opinion. And he does actually have a base Topps Chrome card, too. So that one's still affordable. This card has shot up considerably since the time I committed to the purchase. It's 2018 Topps Update. Juan Soto, PSA Gem Mint 10. So that's a nice card there. You see a ton of people getting the Chrome Updates graded. The Chrome Update is certainly easier to grade than the paper. I mean, paper is usually pretty clean, but the lesser stock lends itself to more corner, edge dings, and really some surface issues. But it's a beautiful card there of Juan Soto, who was extremely underpriced most of the season and has kind of recently started to get the hobby love that he probably deserved all along. This is a 2011 Topps Update, Jose Altuve, PSA Gem Mint 10. I pick these up whenever I see them in the $60 range. I just think you can't go wrong with that. Altuve has a great chance to get to 3,000 hits, a potential future Hall of Famer. Obviously, he still has a ways to go, and he needs to stay healthy. That's kind of been his biggest issue the last 2 years. But the Astros are still a fantastic team. You would expect them to be in playoff contention for years to come. So he should continue to gain some national attention. And it's also from that classic 2011 Topps Update set that is loaded with rookies, namely that Mike Trout. So nice Altuve there. And then the final modern card will be a Jimmy Rollins from 1998 Bowman Chrome. This is the International Parallel. That's what actually drew me to this card. It's a PSA Gem Mint 10. The front looks amazing. The back, I don't really like the centering. Top to bottom is kind of rough. I guess you could consider that left to right if you look at the card the way you should. But PSA has that allowance for the back, so it did get a Gem Mint 10. The front looks great, though. I mean, you get little dust particles on the holder itself, but once they're in perfect fit, so it'll be great. But Jimmy Rollins, all-time Philly, had a great career, all-time hits leader as a Philly. He's one of those guys that is a borderline Hall of Famer. Some people certainly think he's getting in. Others don't really believe so. So we'll see. He has a shot at some point, has comparable stats to some other shortstops, was a fantastic fielder, won multiple Gold Gloves as well, won an MVP, won a World Series, so we'll see. But the internationals are pretty tough, so to me, I had to pick that one up when given the chance, so happy with that. Then we have some vintage here. This is mostly cheap vintage. A few Hall of Famers should be mixed in. Got a 1965 Topps Rick Wise Near Mint 7. Somehow I ended up purchasing 2 of these. I don't know how I did that, but I did. So I got 2 Near Mint 7 Rick Wise cards. Rick Wise had a nice career. I would say the one on the left looks a little better. I don't know. They're still both 7s. I'd say slightly better centering on the one there. But Rick Wise, really nice career. And kind of well-known in Phillies lore. Big fan of this Andy Semenick PSA 6 from 56 Tops. Love that catching pose, the old stadium in the background. Just a cool card. So, neat one there. Most of the vintage Phillies I've been picking up in his mid-range grades, collector's grades, just super cheap that, to me, you got to pick them up. It's a 73 Tops Roberto Clemente PSA 6. Off-center, left to right. Otherwise, card looks very nice. Cool card. Final card for Clemente. You can see that 3,000 hit total there. To me, if you're just kind of getting into vintage, if you're just getting into collecting some Hall of Famers, I think this is a great card to pick up. Love those career stats on the back. And it's still fairly affordable. The PSA 6 was a pretty decent price. I can't remember offhand. Here's a card I'm thrilled to own, a 1949 Bowman, Bobby Doerr, and a PSA 5. Love 49 Bowman. Love Bobby Doerr. Know him a lot from his TTM signing. This guy is a through-the-mail autograph signing legend. He signed thousands and thousands of autographs through the mail, returned them quickly, never turned anyone down. Unless your item got lost in the mail, you got it back. And obviously was a great player as well. Until last year, was the oldest living Hall of Famer. So got that one in a PSA 5. So happy to pick that one up. Bobby Doerr is one of those guys. I like to pick up his stuff from time to time and kind of collect them. It's a 1965 Topps Rocky Cultivito PSA 5. This guy was a fantastic player with the Cleveland Indians. You can see some of his career stats there. 3 seasons just in that list on 40 home runs, 300 home runs at that point in his career. Just a fantastic player. And I remember hearing about him all the time when I was a kid. Someone I went to school with was related to him in some way. I don't remember the full story, but I remember them talking about him at, like, I don't know, show and tell or something like that in grade school. And I remember always just kind of hearing about him, you know, back in 25 years ago, about what a great player he was. And obviously he did put up a fantastic career, and happy to pick up one of his cards. It's a neat one there. All right, we have a 1966 Topps Rub-Offs. It's Jim Fregosi. Jim Fregosi, really good player with the California Angels. He was actually involved in the Nolan Ryan trade, so kind of infamous for that bad trade. I mean, obviously, Jim Fregosi was a good player, but he wasn't quite Nolan Ryan worthy. But I know him a lot from growing up. He was a Phillies manager back in 1993. Did a great job. I believe he's on the Phillies Wall of Fame. I'm sure he is. And just thought this was neat. Saw this, got it for like $5, and thought, why not? It's just something kind of different. So happy with that one. Got to get a Philly at some point for the Phillies collection. Here's a 1967 Topps Bob Uecker, PSA 5. Not really the best looking card. Can't really see his Phillies gear or anything like that, but how can you not add Bob Uecker to the collection? A lot of people don't even realize he was a Philly. People associate him as an announcer, not necessarily as a player, but just thought that was a no-brainer to add to the PC. Another Johnny Padres, 1960 Topps in a near mint 7. Nice card there. At some point, I will actually make a checklist and put together what Johnny Padres I need. I'm just doing his entire run for the sake of doing it. He's another guy who was a pitching coach of the Phillies in the early 90s, and just always liked hearing about him, and he was a great pitcher. There's another guy with a Phillies connection. It's Lee Thomas. It's 1963 Topps Lee Thomas in a PSA 8. Lee Thomas was the general manager of the Phillies in the late 80s, early 90s. Constructed that 93 team that kind of came together. Everything went right that year. But one of the things I really enjoy is some of the old Phillies home companion videos they used to put out. They were really well done. A lot of kind of inside the locker room look. And each of those years, you saw the Phillies making acquisitions. So if you watch like 89 through 92, you kind of see that 93 team coming together. A bunch of kind of cast-offs with a lot of ability guys, and then they all kind of had their career years in 93. But when I was a kid, I never actually knew Lee Thomas used to be a player. I had no idea until, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And then I found out and actually got some autographs from him, and now I've picked up a few slabs, higher graded PSA slabs that I thought were kind of cool for the collection. So that one he's featured as an Indian, this one as a Red Sox, and this one's actually a PSA Mint 9 65 top, so a nice clean crisp card of Lee Thomas. So that's a neat one there. It's a 1952 Bowman Del Ennis in a PSA 6. So I like that one. It's a Johnny Padres that I needed. It's a 1957 tops. It's only a PSA 3. I mean, I'd prefer like a 5 or 6, but pretty sure I got this one for like $4, so it's kind of, how can you turn it down? I mean, it's not the brightest card, but it's not in horrible shape either. And for just a few dollars, I'll take a PSA 3. Not as concerned with condition in vintage. I mean, modern, I expect kind of perfection. But vintage stuff, I just expect a good-looking old baseball card. Here's a 1960 tops Bobby Shantz, PSA 4. Another one that was really cheap. Bobby Shantz stuff's pretty affordable. So the lower grade stuff you can get cheaper than the cost of getting the card slabbed. So that was a cool one there. Got a 1970 tops Tug McGraw. He was on the mound when the Phillies won their first World Series, and he's one of those rare players that's kind of beloved by Mets fans and Phillies fans. Really popular Met, really popular Philly. Kind of has just embraced both fan bases, and things worked out for him. The father of country singer Tim McGraw, for those who might have not known that. But Tug McGraw got sick, passed away a number of years ago, but really well respected player in both New York and Philadelphia, like I said. So the 70 tops and a 7, thought that was a cool one there. Here's a Hall of Famer, 1956 tops Hoyt Wilhelm, New York Giants card. It's a cool card there. Did not have any of his cards, so thought that was neat to pick up. That's a PSA 3. Nice example for the collection. Gonna have 57 tops Ted Kaczynski, PSA 7. Really nicely centered. I'm a big fan of 57 tops. I know they don't have the brightest or boldest photography, but I don't know. There's something about that really simplistic design that I've always really liked. So, cool card there. And then the final card is a 1956 tops Jackie Robinson, Grayback, PSA 3. Awesome card. Nice photograph of him there to the left. Sweet action of him sliding into home there. Facsimile signature. Card's not in perfect shape, but it's very well centered. It does have a mark down here, which is disappointing, but not that big of a deal. A little snowing on the face. Not the sharpest corners. But you know what it looks like? That looks like a card from 1956. And kind of my opinion now of vintage and what I actually enjoy the most are lower graded, nice eye appeal examples that fit great into the collection. And if you can get them at a great price, that's even better. To me, centering's the biggest thing, kind of. I mean, if it's a little off center, it doesn't bother me. The totally miscut cards, forget it. But if a card, was in a collection, was loved by different individuals over the years, and it shows some wear, it's what it's supposed to look like. If it's cut well, I'm happy with it. When it has that original manufacturing issues with the off-centering, that's where it actually bugs me more. But either way, happy to add a Jackie to the collection. So that's it. Nice Mailday, stack of slabs. Just goes to show you can get awesome stuff out of the modern market. You can get awesome stuff vintage-wise. Just enjoy the hobby. Collect what you like. That's what I do. I like Hall of Famers. I like old Phillies. I like, legends that weren't quite Hall of Famers, and I love today's game. It's all awesome. It's all fun, and I appreciate everyone for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Have a great one.